Now that you have taken the time to assess the different styles of communication through the letters and through the animal figures, I want to kind of say, now how can you use this to serve others? Because the first thing you want to do is not demand that others communicate with you the way you communicate. Of course, we're going to get to that in the next module, but the first thing you want to do is start to look at how you can serve other styles. How can you, now that you know your style and what you tend to want to do, how can you adapt that? You've listed the people that you think fit certain different styles. And I want to talk through each one. When you're coming and approaching a person who you think has a certain style, how will you best serve them in that communication? I want you to begin to apply this today or this week. I want you to go right out and do it. And you got to look through the lens of the other person first. Most conflict in the workplace, like 90-something%, happens because two people do not understand where the other is coming from. And that's why if you start with the idea that you're going to serve where the other person's coming from, you're going to have fast improvement, fast results. Now, there will come a time when you will want to share with other people how to communicate with you, but I want you to focus in this module first on serving the styles of others. So let's just pretend that you have a report due to your boss or your team leader about something. And your boss is either naturally a D style or they're functioning in a D style for their role at work. When you come to that person, you may be an S style. You may say, I want to make this sound good. I'm going to try to soften it a little here because I don't really want to get him to get mad at me. I don't want to disrupt the peace between us. And you may be thinking that way through your lens, but you're coming to a person who's a D style. Now, if you remember, a D style wants direct. They don't want fluff. They're not afraid of you hurting their feelings. They just want you to give them what they need so they can keep moving, keep driving a result. And that's what they're interested in. So how would you prepare that report? The first thing you would do is you'd say, okay, what do I need to get this down to that they just need to know today? I don't need to give them everything, but what do I need to give them? What do they have to have? And absolutely pare your report down to the essentials. When you bring the report, you want to speak with confidence and conviction. You want to look them in the eye. You want to be direct. You want to use volume. You want to use a little bit of pace. You don't want to ask them, now, how do you think I should do this, right? You don't want to get the how from them or why are we doing this? You don't want any of that. You're not coming to them for advice. You can figure that out. What they want to know is exactly the bare essentials of how they can continue to move forward as the leader. And you don't want to challenge their authority. You know, you don't want to just get into it with them there because, first of all, they're your boss. They're going to win because they have more authority. Second of all, if you challenge their authority, they're not afraid. They're not afraid of your rebuttal, and they're just going to come back at you probably stronger because they have more information than you do probably already, even though you're bringing them maybe a special report. But you want to do these things, and if you can, keep the pace, be direct, show confidence, only give them the essentials. If they need to know something, they'll ask you, but if you keep it short and sweet and direct, you're going to please them, and you're going to move that communication on very quickly. And they're going to not only want reports from you, but they're going to look forward to the work that you're doing because you're doing such a good job at communicating in their style. This will allow your boss to get a quick assessment and make a quick judgment about what to do next to get the results they're looking for. And then you want to be ready to listen because if they tell you something they need done now that you've given them critical information, then you need to go produce a result. Let's talk about the I style. Let's say you're coming to a boss or a team leader who has an I style. How would you prepare to communicate with them if you're going to serve their needs? You may be a C style. You may love you may love it in writing. You may want every detail spelled out, every question, but you're in the opposite quadrant. So what would you do? How would you adapt your communication to this person? Because it's not your natural way. It's not even comfortable to you to communicate this way. But if you're going to serve them, if you're going to make that roadway from a roadblock to a pathway to a paved road, then you might want to enter this engagement or this report in these ways. You might want to try to brighten up. C styles don't tend to not show much emotion or facial expression, but if you're communicating with an I, they're going to want a little bit of talking, probably a little bit higher pace, or maybe even a little bit louder. So you're gonna have to break out of your comfort zone. Be bright, use facial expressions, use voice inflections, maybe share a story about how the project's going. You know, the other day when we were working on this project, this happened and so and so and so and so. If you use a story, you're gonna communicate very well with an I-style personality, and they're gonna love the story. And they're probably gonna share a story back with you, and you need to be prepared to let them talk. So don't expect this to go quick and be out of there. You're going to have to take some time to interact with this person. But let your leader talk for a little bit, engage you with chit chat. Share a story, maybe even use visual aids if possible. I think I-styles really like to see things. So if you can provide just a picture or, you know, like a graph or something that's visual, I think that'll help. Try to make it fun if you can. You're not expected to be the life of the party or make them laugh a lot. But if you can use some sort of humor, or make it fun, that'd be good. Even use colored paper or a colored graph. If you use black and white, that's fine. But an I-style is going to like the color. They're going to get into that, right? It's going to attract them and draw them into your report. And again, you don't want to expect them to remember a lot of details. They're not going to want to hear it first of all, but when you don't offer all the details, you want to be able to send them something in writing, which is where you'll excel. If you send them something in writing with some of the details in it, then they can go back later when they're not visiting with you and worrying about the person. They can look at the report and they can get the details that they need then. And in these ways, you're going to remind your leader why they like you on their team, because you communicate creatively and you're a likable person. So when you're considering communicating with an I-style, these are some good things to remember. Let's move on to communicating with an S-style, or a caring personality, a steady, calm person who is deep, and they're going to get the job done. It may not be very fast, but they're going to get it thoroughly done. It's going to be a great job, and they're on your team to keep the team together. They want to make sure everybody's doing their part. So how do you want to approach someone with an S-style? If they're your leader, they're your boss, you're taking something to them. Now, I would recommend, first of all, that you be absolutely sincere. Don't be making jokes about how that didn't get done because, you know, you got busy doing something else and you're careless. You know, you want to be sincere. You want to come to this person with a sincere motive. You don't want to be too loud. You just want to kind of calmly, quietly speak with them. You want to do this in a private setting if possible. Hey, could you come to, you know, could I come to your office, or I would like to invite you into my office. Close the door, get that quiet space so that you can really be sincere and take the time to communicate. If at all possible, be complimentary. Be complimentary of their leadership, something that they do that you like. If you can compliment them, that's going to go a long way with your report. You might even ask about their family. They're not going to mind not getting right to the report if you ask about their family, because they love people, they love relationships, and they love to talk about the people in their lives. So ask about family. Just take a few minutes and go off track with the report possibly. Remind them of why you like their leadership, and even shake their hand. A pat on the shoulder, something like that, is very affirming. And steady personality styles love this kind of communication. So if it's not your style, you can serve them by doing these things, and it's going to really make a huge, huge inroad in your relationship with an S-style personality. This will allow your connection to be maintained in a strong way. It's going to allow space for your leader to learn from you how he or she can support you, because as you're talking about things, they're going to learn about you. And what they're going to be looking for is, can I support this person in the job they're doing? And so they're going to be looking to serve you back. Then you can rest assured that if you're serving them, they're going to be ready to serve you as well. This can really help you get things done in your organization. And finally, what about the C-style personality, the correct style? How can you prepare to communicate with a correct style personality? Well, first of all, you want to minimize the talking and the relationship side of it. They're looking for a detailed assessment. You can, if possible, put this in written report as much as possible. And if you, even to the point that you may not even go visit them to give them this report, they would probably prefer you just send it to them and have it on time. If you're late, you're losing trust. So this needs to be sent ahead of time or on time as agreed upon, because they're correct. And if you're not keeping things correct for them, it's gonna break that rapport of communication. So you want to make sure you're writing it down, getting it turned in on time or early. You want to answer as many questions as possible for this person. If you do the work of asking the questions and they can just look at it and see that you've done a thorough job, it's going to be very helpful to them. Don't be alarmed if they call you with a question, if they email you with a question. Don't take that personally. They're simply digging. They may really like the work you've done, and maybe they just had a question that they thought of that you didn't, and that's okay. They're just vetting the process. They're not negating you or the work you've done. They're just trying to gather as much as they need. So don't take questions personally when you give a report. They might just be intrigued to find out more. Don't try to share too many stories or ask about their family. It's going to be a lot of work for them to detach from the task and engage in that conversation. And they have very few trusted friends, and they may invite you in at some point over a long period of time, but what your job is to keep them in the mindset of getting the questions answered that they need. They need the facts, so make sure you get the facts correct and make sure you honor their time. This will allow them to feel respected. Since you took the time to answer their questions ahead of time, it will give them exact details and answers that can be more carefully read since you have given them a written report. Now, no matter what kind of person or communicator you're dealing with, just a small effort to serve them in their style will go such a long way and create such a tremendous impact in your workplace. And over time, you're going to be quick to be able to quickly identify what kind of communicator you're working with. And you're going to be quick to make those adjustments. And as you're serving them, you're going to see all kinds of things open up. You're going to be so much happier in the way the work's going if you just take the step of serving them. I want to put a plug in here, just if you need more help with this kind of stuff, if you want to go deeper, if you want to really study it, know yourself even better, your strengths and your weaknesses, if you really want to grab this, make sure you reach out to the Chamber of Commerce office and request more information and help with this, because we can help you in a deeper way with this. We're going to move on to the next module, Module 3. We're going to talk about how can you let others know how to communicate with you. So we'll see you there.